Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Progress with number 16 in the series Viewers Games. This one is from Anish from India and I really enjoyed this game, full of twists and turns. Hope you stick with it. Before we get into the game from Anish, I want to tell you that I'm very grateful for all the games that were sent to me. I have about 60 games that are waiting to be analyzed. I will analyze them all, I will publish them all. But I will take them in the order that they were sent to me. These are the names of people that sent me games by month. I just want to make sure you know that I haven't forgotten about you. It's just that there's quite a few games. So far I've done one game every week, but it will take me a year to get through these almost 60 games. So I will go to a schedule of trying to do 2 games a week at least. Not sure if I can keep it up, but I will try and do that just to make sure I can get through these games and that you don't have to wait that long to see your game analyzed. If you send me a game and your name is not on this list, please send me another email to classroomchess64@gmail.com and I will add you to the list. Let's go back to the game from Anish. Anish says, "This is Anish from India and I'd like to share with you a game I played on chess.com against Sabi Sheki from India. The time control was 10 minutes per side for the entire game without increment. The main reason I'd like to share this game with you is that, at least at an amateur level, one shouldn't give up after making a bad mistake early in the game, and at least wait to see if the opponent can make use of the opportunity or not. This game is an example of that. Yes, it is indeed, Anish. It is a wonderful game and it shows the joy of chess, the passion you displayed for chess, and indeed you never gave up and got rewarded. Let's have a look at the game." Anish was white and his opponent Sabi Sheki was black. G3, E5, Bishop G2, D6, D3, Knight C6, B3, Bishop D7, Bishop B2, so Anish chooses to play the double fianchetto. Both bishops are fianchettoed to the B2 and G2 squares. It is a perfectly okay way to play. Knight F6, Knight D2, Bishop E7, Knight G F3, and D5. Black plays a different approach. Black occupies the center and has developed his bishops to the central squares. But playing D5, Black has overlooked something. He simply overlooks that his pawn on E5 is now unprotected. Well, it's protected by the knight, but it's attacked twice by knight and bishop. So here white, Anish, could have just taken a pawn on E5. A pawn for nothing. Anish didn't see it and played castling. Especially for improving players, it's important to always look, can I take something of my opponent which is not protected enough? And of course the other way around, are all my pieces and pawns protected well enough if they're attacked by other pieces? So here Anish, you should have taken a few seconds and then you would have seen that that pawn on E5 was not protected well enough. Anish was intent to complete his development and he castled. And Black played E4. Anish took and Black took back. And now you have to check if that pawn can be taken. It's only attacked by the knight and it's protected by the knight, so it cannot be taken. Anish, unfortunately, took the pawn and overlooked that he then just loses a piece. What he could and should have played here, instead of taking the pawn, is Knight G5, as that is a way to win the pawn on E4. After Knight G5, if we look again, that pawn on E4 is suddenly attacked 3 times by both knights and by the bishop on G2. It's only protected by the knight on F6, so on the next move white can win that pawn. So Knight G5 would have been a very good move here. Okay, Anish didn't see it, he took on e4 and black took the piece. Anish saw that he can now take on g7, attacking the rook, so rook g8, attacking the bishop, bishop went to h6, and black played bishop f6. Attacking the rook on a1. And here white is already in a bit of trouble, because you cannot really play that rook to b1, because then there is knight c3 with a nice fork on queen and rook. If you play rook c1 instead, then there could be bishop b2 harassing the rook again. If you go to b1, there is that knight c3 move again with the fork. Instead, you can play, instead of rook b1, you can play queen d3, attacking the knight, and then, for example, queen e7 to protect the knight, and rook b1 to bring the rook to safety. And at least you have not lost material. So all that after bishop f6. Unfortunately, Anish did not see the attack on his rook, and he played bishop f4. Black took the rook, queen takes back, so now black has won another exchange, which means he is now a rook up. But not all is lost for white. Yes, he's a rook down and he is lost, but there's still something to play for, and it all has to do with black not being fully developed yet and the king still being in the center. Black probably relaxed too much here. He played a bad move. He played bishop e6. He didn't sense any danger. Bishop e6 is not a good move. That piece was already developed. Playing again with a developed piece is not a good idea, especially not if your king is still in the center and your opponent is better developed than you are. Black really should have finished his development. The best move in the position would have been queen f6 with either a queen swap, which would take a lot of pressure off the black position, or if white avoids the queen swap, then there is castling queenside, which puts the black king safe, and then black has solved his problems. After bishop e6, Anish played rook d1, attacking the queen. Queen went to e7, and knight d4. That knight was taken, and Anish took back with the queen. Attacking the knight. Knight went back to f6, and here bishop takes b7. And let's quote Anish again. He said, "I started terribly by blundering a piece in the opening without any gain at all. Clearly I was objectively lost, but still wanted to give it a try by stirring up some trouble. It wasn't gonna be easy, especially after losing an exchange as well due to negligence. I was pretty much down a rook. The only help I had was that my opponent's king was not castled and I had a bishop pair. I continued to poke around and grab a couple of pawns and ruin his pawn structure at the least." Yes, indeed. So after bishop takes b7, the rook is attacked, so black played rook b8. And here a strong move from Anish. Bishop c6 check. And the king has to go to f8. And by miracle, white is winning, being a rook down. Very strong here would have been bishop h6 check. Those two bishops are doing major damage to black. Then rook g7 is the only move, and white can keep piling on the pressure with a move like queen e5. And even though he has a lot of material down, white is winning here. But Anish, what did you do? You have that beautiful bishop on c6, and what did you play here? You played the bishop back to g2. It was such a beautiful active piece on c6, taking the e8 square away from the king, and now it goes back to g2 where it is doing a lot less. Not a good move, Anish. Black played king g7. Anish played bishop g5 and rook b d8. Anish says, my opponent did have some loose pieces and poor coordination. This helped me in setting up an annoying pin on move 21. However, he replied with a very strong rook move, which required my queen to go very passive to the a1 square. It can't get much worse than that. I took a dangerous decision to go for an attack, which, should I fail to execute, would surely lead to my loss. This was basically my last shot at stirring up trouble, as I was down a rook anyways, and a passive queen will pretty much equate to a loss. Yes, still you should have played queen a1 here. Your desperate attempt, which was queen h4, was very brave and it worked out in the end, but queen a1 is of course the right move to play here. Then black can take on d1, queen takes back, and after rook d8, black is winning. But our hero Anish is made of stronger stuff. He went all out for an attack with queen h4. Black took with check, rook takes d1. And again, let's listen to Anish. He said, I did calculate a bit that after losing my second rook on move 22, my opponent will have to find the only move which saves the position without any material loss or mating attack, which was h5 on move 23, which he failed to find. After that, I was pretty much winning, as I would at least get his queen. Had he found it out, I would pretty much have resigned, as there wasn't anything concrete I could do after that. Exactly after rook takes d1 check, Anish had to play bishop f1, and now the only move that saves the position for black is h5, and the white attack is not going anywhere. That pawn on h5 is protected by the knight, and there's nothing white can do. He doesn't have enough pieces to keep the attack going, to make the attack stronger. But black didn't find it. He played bishop f5, and now white is winning. Queen h6 check, king h8 only move, bishop takes f6 check. Wonderful. The only option is to take that bishop with the queen, queen takes f6, then white takes on f6 check, rook g7 only move, and queen takes f5, and white is easily winning with his extra material. In the game, black was so shocked that all he could think of was play rook g7, and Anish checkmated the black king with queen takes g7. A final quote from Anish: I do know it was poor of me to lose material like that in the first half of the game, but the motive behind sharing this was to show that it is possible to get under the skin of the opponent and make them work for every advancement. I'm eagerly waiting for your views on this game. Kind regards, Anish. Well, Anish, I thought this was a wonderful game. Yes, there were a lot of mistakes from both white and black, but I admire you for your queen h4 move, going for an all-out attack instead of playing the queen a1 move back and then just die a slow death. And you were rewarded for your brave play. Black collapsed and could not find the h5 move. Well done, Anish, and thank you very much for sharing this game. I'm sure the viewers liked it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Progress channel, and I'm looking forward to your comments on Anish's game and his brave play. If you liked the video, it would be great if you could share the video on YouTube. You also may want to check out my Chess to Impress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick from Chess to Progress. Thank you very much for watching.